today we're going to be learning about solid axle suspension. So it's really just what this is here, but it sort of lets the chassis flex more over things. So yeah, I've known quite a few people that want to learn how to make this, or just people in general want to learn how to make it because it looks cool, and obviously it's cool and fun. So I'm going to be teaching you that today. Alright, let's get started, shall we? Right, so today we're going to be starting off with, well, pretty much just a plate, a base plate and a axle. We're going to work our way up to eventually the final product, which is that. You can spawn pretty much any base plate you want, but I prefer to use S-props, and preferably a thick or wide base plate to pretty much cover the wheels, so it doesn't, hopefully doesn't roll as likely, or not as likely to roll or flip, so obviously making it more stable. So just go into S-props menu, grab a, what is that, 84 by 192. So that's what I pretty much use for all of my chassis, with 192 in length. And then what you want to do is go into your cylinders and get a pick 72s, because as you can see, the axle actually goes into the wheel. Okay, because, well, obviously it does that in real life, but it's more aesthetically pleasing to me. You can choose if you just want to do it like that, but I don't find that very aesthetically pleasing. So let's get started, shall we? So what you're going to do is, if you've watched my points video, you should be able to, well, you should know what I'm doing here, but I'm just going to recap on moving stuff. So what you want to do is grab your precision alignment tool out, and then obviously you click in the middle of this base plate on the edge. Make sure it's on hit pos point, and all three of these are ticked, and that's on 100%. What you want to do is shift click on the edge of that, and then right click to highlight it. You can also, just select 0.2 and do that. So we've done that now. Now what we want to do is move it down, so put one point there, another point there, make sure that's still selected. And what you want to do is move entity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll go down about 9. And then we want to go in about 2, depending on where you want your wheel to line up with your chassis, obviously. Now what you want to do is spawn your a wheel. Now you want to put your wheel on the axle. Just going to take the wheel away, and we're going to put a plane, hit pos plus hit normal in the center. I'm going to go down, hit normal, select this side of the face, so this prop duplicates over to this side, so therefore we have two axles. And well, there's your two axles. So now we're going to rope them, which is obviously vital for it not really dropping down and not working. So what you want to do is point 1 go onto the side of your chassis, point 2 on the other side, like this here, and you want to go down to mass center, point 3, put it in the middle. Mass center is like the middle of anything. It will select the middle of your axle. What you want to do is press R, go into the R menu, and then go constraints, rope, point 1 to point 3. It has to be, make sure rigid is ticked. Your width can be anything, but I'm putting it on 1 or 2 for this tutorial. Normally they would be 0, so no one can see them, but yeah. So point 1 to point 3, point 2 to point 3, because point 1 and 2 are on the chassis and point 3 is on the axle, obviously. And well, there's your ropes for axle, or the front axle, or back axle, whatever. Now what you want to do is just not create another point. Yep, select, put point 3 back on this axle and do exactly the same. Right, so now alright, now that we got the ropes on, we're going to put the wheels and connect those up on a 18 by 18 by 3 plate, or any plate really, as long as it can fit the hydraulics on it. Now what you want to do is go into wire, type in hydraulics. You can either put it nano, mini, normal. I choose nano because it's just very small. Make sure these aren't ticked. These don't really matter. So what you want to do is left click and left click again to create the hydraulic. Left click. It really doesn't matter where you put the hydraulic. I just put it anywhere on the ground, so yeah. So what you want to do is go into your ball socket and get an XZ lock. Don't worry about that. Yeah. Now what you want to do is click on the middle of your axle, click on the middle of your chassis, and do the same with the other side. And if we do this, hopefully, it will only rotate on the y-axis. So there we go, look at that. Now the reason why I did a Y and X and Z lock is because we don't want it spinning like a wheel, and we don't want it turning like obviously wheels do on a car when you turn the steering wheel. Now we're going to move on to putting the wheels on and then onto the hydraulics, and then to the final product of putting it together. So what you want to do is spawn wheel size 45. It really doesn't matter, but this sort of suits this thing better, in my opinion. So what you want to do is put a hit post point there in the center outside of your axle. You want to put point mass center for point 2. You can click on your wheel, you can highlight it to move it, move entity, so it's on there. And now what you want to do is go down to your plane hit post plus normal, and go down, hit normal, select this face, side face, so it moves over to the other side of the axle but duplicates it, so this one's still here. So we're going to go into rotation functions. We're going to click on that, plane 1, hold shift, left click, and that's going to move it over. Now we're going to put the plane hit normal on this side of the face, so these wheels will go to the back axle. Highlight your wheel, shift, left click, same with the other side. And there you go, now there's your wheels. So what we're going to do now is just going to no collide them. You can do it manually by just pressing C, right click on the wheel and disable collisions, or you could just get a no collide all multi tool. Didn't do anything. Right. Now we're going to go down to fading doors so we can use that to put hydraulics in and just the axis and all that. So you want to select, you can put any number, but I'd like to select numpad 4. It's just easier and convenient. What you're going to do is click on your wheels, and they should, yeah. So if you push 4, push it again, they should do that. But sometimes it's like if you put a fading door on it and then you fade door it and unfade door it, sometimes it'll be rotated like 90 degrees or something. So you just want to go into the precision alignment menu, rotation, and then you want to get angles. It'll say nothing, so you pretty much got to try and play around with it yourself. So you can set that to 90. No. And then look, yep, there you go. Look at that. And now, so if you fade it again, it should pretty much stay like that. So that's one way to fix that problem. Right, now back on track. So now we're going to make spherical the wheels, so they rotate easily and then not like as if you got a flat tire. I'm going to do that on all 4. Doesn't matter. Set radius 20. Don't click anything in here. That's just how I've been using it, so it's been working. Right, so now that they've been set, what you want to do is go up to your axis center tool, and for the back axle you want to click in the center of the wheel, then fade door them, and click in the center of the axle, and turn to the other side. Now with the front wheels, they're a bit different because they're going to be turning, and you're going to need ball sockets for those. So what we're going to do is spawn, go into your wire, put in pod controller. What you want to do is put your pod controller up on here, and you can grab a chair, whatever, so right click and right click on that, so it connects it to the entity, or to the chair, sorry. And then you want to wire your set aim chip to pod. And then where it's got chassis, you want to wire it to the axle because it's following the axle, not the chassis, because it's otherwise it'll mess up. So as you can see there that it rotates differently. What you want to do is go into your E2 and play around with this, which is essentially telling it which way it's going to turn. So it's going to play around with that. See, that's backwards. So what you want to do, if that's backwards, you just want to put a minus in front of it. And now it's all good. So what we're going to do now is you're going to go into your ball socket advanced, and you're going to put a go down and select the YZ lock, the center of your front wheel, to the side of your set aim chip. Same with the other side. Now to get these front wheels to stay on the axle, because if you don't put anything on these wheels to the axle, they're not going to stay there, they're just going to fall off and pretty much be useless. So What you want to do is go ball socket center. You can have no collide. I'm not too phased about that. So what you want to do is center of your wheel to the center of the axle. Same with the other side. And now if we duplicate, so now that we've done that, we're going to put the hydraulics on. So what you want to do is push 4 to fade your wheels. And you want to put 0.1 on the middle of the axle, 2 there as well. What you want to do is highlight your chassis, then 0.1 to 2 attach. Push R, go to your R menu, rotate. No, you want to go to points, 0.1. Relative to entity, just tick the box and untick it, and then you want to put Z. You want to put that to like 70 or even 45. 70 is a bit exaggerated, so that's just above the chassis. So then you want to head over to your hydraulics. You want to highlight this one by right clicking and go over to constraints, Y hydraulic, 0.1 to 2. Create constraint, and now you can, as you can see, the hydraulic is connected to the axle and the chassis. You want to do that for all 4 sides, and now you've got hydraulics. So do that, and there you go. Now we're going to wire everything up, so you sort of have control over how high your suspension can be and can't be, and how soft you want it, how stiff you want it. So what we're going to do is go to expression 2, go down. I'll put all these E2s in description. So it's just a pretty simple E2, F being front, R being back. So yep, constant is how stiff it is, like on a real car. Dampening is if you want it to be like jelly bean around corners. The higher the number that is, the more stable it is. The lower it is, the more jelly bean like it becomes. So what you want to do is go to wire. So since they're the rear, constant, constant. Right, so now that that's all wired up, from before it's higher, and it's not as wobbly. To get more flex out of things, you just need to either increase the weight of things or just lower the constant. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time.